Even though I have been on the smartwatch bandwagon since pretty close to the beginning, one type of smart wearable that I've never gotten to test, never gotten to use is a smart ring. And fortunately for me, that is about to change because today we are looking at the RingConn Gen 2. This is their Kickstarter page at time of recording. They've got about 41 days left to go before this thing is actually going to launch. We're going to be going through their sizing kit, the unboxing, and the sort of early setup in this video with a full review coming probably about a week or so after this particular video is published. We'll use their page here to quickly go over some of the more important specifications. So let's look at the battery life. They're saying 10 to 12 days on a charge. And what's really impressive is that apparently with the charging case, you're going to get around 150 days, which is absolutely wild to me. So you can plug this thing in once, and then almost half a year later, you're going to have to charge your charging case again. They do say it's the thinnest and lightest smart ring, 2 millimeters and 2 grams. It can be up to 3 grams if it's a larger size, but again, 2 to 3 grams is really impressive as well. We do have AI-powered sleep health tracking. It is the only smart ring, as far as I'm aware, to do sleep apnea tracking as well. That is something that for some people could be very, very important. We do have comprehensive health tracking, as you can see here: sleep, steps, activity, your stress level, your BPM. You do have menstrual tracking and then sleep apnea monitoring as well. And what's really cool is that there's no subscription required. Unlike even my Pixel Watch, if I want to get the most advanced features, I do have to pay every month for that, which is a bummer. Not the case here with the RingConn Gen 2. And the last thing I want to show you is this here, the pricing. So on Kickstarter, super early bird price, $209. MSRP is $299. So that's where we're going to be starting off when the thing is fully released, $299. Certainly not a cheap wearable by any stretch of the imagination, but maybe it's worth it. We're going to have to find out. So what we'll do now is we'll jump ahead to their sizing package and see how that goes. So day one, we have our sizing kit in the mail, and so we're going to pop this thing open and see what a sizing kit for the new RingConn is like. Let's get this out of the way because it has my address on it, and I'm just bound to flip it over and show you my address and make myself have to blur things and so forth. Now, I do have pretty small hands, pretty small fingers, so I'm hoping that I can actually be able to wear these things. I'm not entirely sure. This is cool. Okay, so choose a size that's comfortable to wear. Wear it for at least 1 day to assess the right size. That's actually really smart. And then you have different colors here: midnight black, moonlit silver, and then pale gold. And here are the rings themselves. It's definitely not going to be a size 14 unless I want to wear it on my thumb, and it's actually still too big for my thumb. But with this size, we can kind of look at something here. See these little bumps on the inside? That's where on the real one, where the sensors are going to be. So that is important to kind of keep in mind. Let's go down to a 6 because I feel like that's probably going to be a little bit closer. With those bumps in there, that might affect things. I also have to decide what finger I want to wear it on, right? So that's definitely too small on any finger. Let's jump up to an 8. And if I wanted to wear it on an index finger, that's probably close, but I gotta say, that's actually too tight and that might be hard to get off now. Maybe I'll walk around like this for a day and see which one feels more comfortable. So presumably, after you decide which one you want to get, you're going to scan this QR code to get your perfect ring. Let's see what this actually pulls up. Okay, so we have this web page here. The actual ring we ship within 3 days. Receive the ring download. Okay, so submit your ring style. So you would just go to this web page and get that done. I think since I am married and I just have refused to wear a wedding ring for sensory issues, I just don't like the way that it feels. I think I'm going to test it as this ring, and who knows, maybe I'll love the features so much that I will just wear it there full time. I'm sure my wife would probably be happy with me if that were the way that I went. All right, so very, very basic packaging. I'm a little bit concerned because this says size 10, and I definitely did not ask for a size 10, and that is, if it is a size 10, that is not going to work. So hopefully that is just a mistake on the box, and we'll just move on forward. Here's the actual packaging. That makes a bit more sense than what I saw. As you can see, multiple different colors here: silver, gold, matte black, and then sort of like a copper color as well. Flipping this around to the back, we can see that it still does indeed say size 10. So it is appearing more and more likely that they have sent me the incorrect size. We'll see what we can do about that maybe. So inside we have the ring itself over here, which we will take a quick look at. They did indeed send me the wrong size. This is absolutely not going to work, but it is extremely light. This actually, man, I would honestly think that this was like just like a dummy unit. It is so lightweight. That is absolutely incredible. Over here we have some instructions. We have, looks like a charging cable, just a C to C cable, and then here is a case that the ring can drop into to charge. Pretty basic unboxing experience, but I think that looks pretty decent. Let's take a look at the charging case just a little bit closer, because it's not something that, you're going to use a ton, because it's, got 10 to 12 days on a charge, but I do think that it is worth looking at. So the first thing is, it's metal, and it's got that like cold metallic feel to it. As you can hear there, it is definitely metallic. Interesting shape here, how it kind of like bows up there on the front, the LED that shows different states. On the bottom, we have some lettering, but we do have this kind of rubberized texture, which will make it not really want to move on a table. And then, of course, USB-C on the back. Otherwise, it is pretty straightforward. Your ring is just going to drop in place magnetically. Shouldn't fall out very easily. And like I mentioned earlier, an extra 150 days on a charge with this case. Very impressive. So I've decided that while I await a replacement in the correct size, I'm going to try to wear this thing on my index finger. It is still a little bit loose. I'm probably about a full size too large there, but we're going to try to at least get through this setup with this. I don't know, maybe I'll tie like a piece of string on the inside of it to make it fit a little bit better, because I need to get started on this review, and waiting another week for the correct size to come in might not really be an option. So what we're going to do now, we're going to jump over to my OnePlus Open, and we're going to get the application installed and begin that setup process. Now, in their instructions, there is a QR code, but they also say just search for RingConn in the App Store. The QR code is so tiny that I'm actually curious if it's even going to be scannable. It was. Okay, so we can at least do that. It's opening up this web page, and we have a link to the Google Play Store. So there is the application. So we're going to get that installed and begin, like I said, that setup process. Okay, so we've got the app opened up. We've registered our account, and you can now see the Connect Ring option. So it should be walking us through this. Activate the ring in the charging case. The ring blinks blue. So we're going to take the ring off. We're going to grab that charging case, and we are going to drop it inside. And we do have a blue LED on the front of it there. So we're going to start the search. And there is the RingConn Gen 2. So this is all going pretty darn well. One thing that I do want to test is the fact I switch phones all the time. So I'm wondering how easy it is to bring the ring with you. If I log in on another device, can I just bring the ring over and I'm good to go? That would be really, really good to see that happen. Kind of like it is on some Amazfit watches. We'll have to test that out. So it looks like there is a firmware update. So we're going to go ahead and get that going, and we'll pick up from there. And that actually only took just a couple of minutes. Pretty darn fast firmware update. So I've popped the ring back on, and let's go into the heart rate thing and just see if we can manually measure 2 green lights simultaneously for 30 to 60 seconds during the measurement. Keep the protrusions on the base of your finger. Keep your hand still with your palm facing down. Okay, so we're going to say okay, and it is indeed able to read my heart rate on this finger. So I'm not sure how accurate it's going to be because it is a little bit loose, so we won't necessarily be judging how accurate this is with this one until I get the proper fitting one. This video is just going to kind of be focused on the broad overview. Although, I will say, let me take my watch off so you can see this, but my Pixel Watch measured the exact same BPM. So maybe it's tight enough to be able to do a serviceable job. Again, just keep that in mind. It doesn't fit perfectly, so again, just keep that in mind as we go forward. Let's take a second and go through this application as best we can tell. So up here in the top left, we have a calendar option that will just let you change between different days. That makes sense. Top right, this little circle thing, this looks like it's taking you into some sort of setting. So it says 82% battery. That's 9 days remaining, which is insane. Ring settings tool, remove connected device. Okay. Not a whole lot else you can do on this page, to be honest. It's not like a bunch of settings. A lot of it's just sort of information, so we'll back out from there. So wellness balance. You've got vital signs, sleep, stress management. So this will fill out as I'm actually using the thing. Sleep. You have your activity tracking here on the right, which you can see it's already beginning to do some stuff. I've burned 34 calories since I've had the thing on somehow. You can see my heart rate there, and it's beginning to track that also. It's continuing to track that, which is cool. Blood oxygen is right there. Let's go ahead and measure the blood oxygen. So we're just going to dismiss that and see what it's able to do. You can see that little animation moving there where it says measure. So presumably it is measuring my blood oxygen level as I speak, and I am at 100%. So fantastic, looking good. HRV is there, so that's heart rate variation. The more your heart rate is able to be varied between beats, like basically we're talking about the time between beats. If your heart is able to handle lots of variation, it is thought that you are in a good place right now. If you're particularly tired or overworked, your HRV might drop. So I'm happy to see HRV is there as well. We have stress, which I've personally very, very infrequently have I seen stress tracking be useful to me. Maybe this will be one of the rare examples where it is useful. Sleep apnea tracking. And then we have something here called health timelines. I guess you can take notes, add a title, potentially an image, some little tags. So it's almost like a journaling thing. That's actually pretty smart. We have a trends section as well. Of course, this is also something that's going to be blank at the moment. And then the me page is just going to have some other data management. And we do have some settings here where you can set goals, add widgets. Again, nothing too super in depth, although I do want to change the temperature to Fahrenheit because I do live in the United States. So I mentioned needing to test to see if it would be able to switch from phone to phone. So what I did is I grabbed my Pixel Fold and I logged in on this phone, and then I turned off Bluetooth here. It instantly grabbed the Ring and it instantly just sort of synced and filled up all of my data. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try to bring it back over here to the OnePlus Open. It actually signed me out. This is behaving very similarly to Amazfit devices. So now you can see we've disconnected over here. Since it's already paired, I wonder if it's just going to instantly connect to it. I may need to come over here. No, it just grabbed it. So I didn't even have to turn off Bluetooth on that device. So that is fantastic. The fact that all I have to do is just sign in on the new device and then maybe turn off Bluetooth on the old device so that it can connect to it. And we've just carried straight over. Great job by RingConn there. All right, so it's been about 22, 23 hours. We've jumped ahead. I've been wearing the RingConn Gen 2 and the Pixel Watch 2. I've slept with them both on. And what you're looking at now are both applications. And we're going to try to sort of compare how these two look. Now, we're not going to really deeply compare how accurate we think this thing is because, again, it's just not fitting me perfectly. Although I do think it's fit well enough to be relatively accurate. We're going to save that judgment for a full review. Let's jump into sleep duration first because I was actually quite impressed with how well this was handling sleep tracking. If we scroll down, you can see lots of data, but you can also see your sleep stages, and you can see that right next to my Pixel Watch. And they both had me falling asleep 10:13 and 10:16, so within 3 minutes of each other. Now you can see that the Pixel Watch did have me waking up a lot more frequently, in particular towards the later period of the night. And I do think that is probably more accurate. It was not a particularly great night's sleep. And you can see the total timing, awake time, deep sleep, REM sleep. They're pretty close, right? They're not exactly the same. They're not going to be, but you can see here how it's handling sleep tracking. And again, I think it's doing a pretty good job. I like how it's got the heart rate right there in the sleep tracking. It's got my HRV right there in the sleep tracking. The SpO2, your blood oxygen level, skin temperature is right there as well. Respiratory. There's a lot of data that is right there. And the good thing about all of it is no subscription is required. If we look at heart rate, let's actually jump into today. You can see that these two do look relatively similar. You can see the RingConn has a slightly lower average of 53 versus 56. But again, I like how the SpO2 and the HRV, I like how they put all of this stuff in the same area so that you can see it all together. You can also change this to a 30-minute view or a 5-minute view. By comparison, Fitbit actually looks a lot less detailed. And so this data is pretty limited because I've just not walked a whole lot this morning. It is only 9:17 in the morning. But you can see on the Fitbit side, that's it. That's all I have on that screen for free. If I scroll down on the RingConn, you can see the calories are there. You can see that my standing time is there. My activity intensity is there. If I had done an exercise, if I tracked an exercise, that would be there. There's just a lot more stuff packed into each category. I do want to quickly point out two more things. One, I don't know that there is automatic workout tracking. I don't think that there is. I think you have to go in here and you see that little yellow icon down in the bottom right. You have to actually click it and then pick an exercise and it's pretty limited in what kinds of exercises you have access to. I also want to point out that the sleep apnea monitoring is something that you have to manually start as well. So that's something else that I did not do. I just assumed it would track it. It doesn't. You have to tell it to track it each time. So no information, nothing to say on those two in this video. I will say though, for my first 24 hours, my first impression, pretty strong. I think that this thing's doing a good job. I wish that it fit me properly because that is the only thing that is really holding it back for me. I wish I could wear it more comfortably on my ring finger or something like that. It is extremely light though, and even with it being on the wrong finger for me, I did find myself forgetting that it was on. Actually, I might even say that I wish it was a little bit heavier because it's so light, I swear to you, it almost makes it feel kind of cheap in a way. It's very, very strange how light this thing actually manages to be. But yeah, lots of data, pretty darn granular data. I think that the app is fine. It's a little bit basic, but it seems overall fine to me. The charging case seems pretty solid. The battery life, I guess I could actually pull this back up, and we'll click on the top right-hand side, and you can see we're at 66%, 7 days and 6 hours remaining. So again, the battery life does seem to be pretty darn rock solid. So guys, I would consider this a fairly strong first impression. Now, what I am going to do here is I will link to the Kickstarter page in the description down below. So if you want to check that out, that will be available to you. I will be doing a full review. Like I mentioned, they are going to be sending me the correct size, and I'll wear it for a week or so, and I'll give you a full review. We're going to go even more in detail. Before I wrap this thing up, I do want to say thanks to RingConn for sending this over for me to do these videos. As always, for my full reviews, no money has exchanged hands for the production of this video, and they will be seen at the exact same time as you are. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.